Congratulations, you've made it. You are now in your 60s, and in this week's episode, I'm going to give you 10 financial goals that you need to hit while you're in your 60s. You do not want to miss this episode. Hi, welcome to the Financial Dispensary with me, Dr. G. In this week's episode, we're wrapping out a series where I'm giving you 10 financial goals I want you to hit in each specific decade of your life. If you followed me during the previous episodes, we did one for your 20s, your 30s, 40s, 50s. If you missed those episodes, I'll drop the description up there for you and you can go and watch them again. Congratulations. If you followed the tips that I've laid out for you, you are definitely on your way towards financial independence. And in this week's episode, I'm going to give you the 10 financial goals I want you to focus on in your 60s. You'll see that in your 60s, there will be a lesser part of focus on the financial side, and there will be a bigger focus on the softer elements. So well done for achieving your financial goals. And let's get stuck in and see how we can just round out the picture. The first financial goal that I want you to focus on is on tax. So remember that when you retire, so currently in the South African legislation, it says that the earliest that you can retire is age 55. The mindset still out there is kind of age 65 is the rough age that people would look at. But when you retire, and specifically from retirement funds, there's going to be a lump sum retirement or tax liability due. So if you take a lump sum or a big amount out of your retirement fund, there will be a tax implication there. So once off tax due, it's very important that you run some simulations in terms of what that potential amount could be so that you can budget for that accordingly. And then also obviously you're going to draw income from your various sources of incomes. Please keep in mind, depending on how it's structured, those incomes will also be taxable, and depending at what kind of range. So it's very important to also understand that even if you are retired, you can still utilize a vast amount of strategies and also structures to effectively reduce or limit your tax liabilities. So you need to definitely want to go deep and heavy on the tax side. Remember, tax is going to be with you forever, so it's important to have a plan in place for that specifically. Moving on to the second one, which is this, hopefully in your 60s by now, you'll have this growing and diverse asset base. So remember, the goal was, as I mentioned in previous decades, is to accumulate these assets that effectively will kick out a passive income for you over the life of, for the rest of your natural life. So depending in terms of how you've done with regards to accumulating your assets over time, I would want you to have this growing kind of asset base. And as I mentioned earlier, that currently in the South African law, you can retire anywhere from age 55 onwards. So 55, 65 is still the general. And depending on how you're doing on this specific area will determine whether it will be more viable for you to retire closer to, let's say, early 60s, so 61 or 62, or maybe 65 or later. So depending on how you did on this specific area, will give you a good idea in terms of what to do. Let's move on to the next point. The next financial goal that I want you to focus on is to spend your money. Remember, you've gone through this journey now. You've accumulated all this assets, you build your asset base, you have the passive income stream. Now, while you're in your 60s, while your health is still fairly well, still good enough, I want you to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So travel, spend your money, enjoy the finer things in life. What I sometimes see that happen is that as people move closer to retirement or during retirement, there is a bit of a mental shift in terms of, because they're aware that they're not earning money anymore, that they're scared to spend money. So there's this constant fear of is it going to be enough, or I'll do it tomorrow. Kind of opportunity comes along, yeah, but I'll do it tomorrow. I want to go on the cruise, yeah, we'll go next year. Or it's too cold now, to this or to that. So I want you to enjoy the fruits of your labor, spend your money, still be prudent, so don't go completely out of whack, but I want you to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Fourth financial goal, again, it's a kind of accumulation in previous decades that we mentioned, is final revision of your last will and testament. So again, just make sure that you dot the I's and cross the T's. Tell somebody in terms of where the original will is. Make sure that you have various soft copies available. Most likely there wouldn't be major changes, but maybe something would have changed over the last couple of years. So it's important to kind of review and update your last will as well. To add on to this, the fifth goal that I want you to focus on is maybe consider adding a living will. So your last will and testament deals with what would happen in the event of death, right? A living will deals with what needs to happen in the event while you're still alive. So I'll give you the practical kind of example. Unfortunately, we lost our father late last year to cancer, and his health deteriorated quite dramatically in the last kind of couple months of his life. And that specifically that last week, he was almost completely incapacitated, and it was just through kind of medical intervention that he was kind of almost kept alive. And it's exactly there where the living will comes in, is that when there is zero chance for recovery, the medical doctors, there's no chance for recovery. What should the doctors do in a case like this? And with a living will, effectively, is a document that you write down and say that in the event that I'm so severely incapacitated, there's no chance of any recovery, please switch off the machines. So remember, depending on where you live in the world, it might not be legal for your spouse or partner or loved ones to give that instruction to the doctor, but with this document, it effectively is your own instruction that you give to the medical doctors. So that's the importance of having a living will. Sixth financial goal that I want you to focus on is to consider a power of attorney. So power of attorney, again, is just a written document where you effectively confer certain rights to somebody else so that they can execute certain legal agreements. We see it a lot in terms of banks, where a bank, you can have a general power of attorney and you can incur or transfer effectively the legal right to somebody else to act on your behalf with the bank. So it's not just with regards to banks, but remember in the previous goal that we mentioned is I want you to travel. So as a practical example, you halfway across the world and there's some legal shenanigans on this side of the world that you need to execute. You're not close by to have that kind of the written confirmation, but by conferring a power of attorney to somebody else can effectively execute that on your behalf. Just be very careful in terms of who you transfer or allow a power of attorney to execute on your behalf, because there's some legal ramifications depending on who you choose. So it's just somebody that you trust effectively. The seventh one is to discuss your final wishes. So remember, in your 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and onwards, you are effectively in the last kind of phase of your life, and unfortunately death is a reality. So I want you to enjoy today, enjoy life, spend your money, but at the same time be open and honest and know that you're not going to be around forever. So have the discussion around your final wishes. What do you want? Do you want a funeral? Do you want a burial, cremation? What do you want? It's always very difficult when the people that are left behind kind of need to figure it out. Yeah, I think he would have enjoyed this, or yeah, she really did like doing this or that. So be open and honest, have a conversation around the topic. I know it's very difficult, but as you get older, just be pragmatic about it and just know that it's a reality. So have a discussion in terms of your last final wishes. Number 8, identify a charitable cause that you'd like to support. So again, remember on this kind of journey that we've been, when you were young, you were prudent with your money, you saved, you didn't spend all the money that you earned, you saved the money, you invested that money, you accumulated all these assets, a nice diversified asset mix that now generate income, and that will generate income in perpetuity during your retirement. And at some point you're going to pass away, and because you've got all the paperwork and you dot your I's and cross your T's, you're going to transfer that wealth to the next generation. But in that kind of transfer process, remember also to kind of share the love. So support some charities, decide which causes are close to your heart. Ultimately, the older you get, the more you realize that money is purely just a means to an end. So life is not about making a lot of money. Life is about living life. And by supporting a charitable cause, you effectively share the love with others that are less fortunate. Remember, there's this, a lot of the uber wealthy also kind of realize once you have it all, you realize that that's actually not what life is about. Hence why a lot of the super rich people give away a lot of their money in the event of death. And this ties in very nicely to the 9th one as well, which is almost kind of a life outlook or kind of vision. It's just to simplify life. As you get older, just embrace simplicity. So go minimalistic. It's not about kind of having it all. So cut down on a lot of things. So cut down on your the people that you spend time with. Cut down on the design of your house. Cut down on kind of structures and complications, and enjoy life. So embrace kind of a simplistic kind of view and outlook. I always see this, as you get older, you just want to, by now you know exactly what you enjoy and what you like, so just focus on that. It's as simple as that. And the 10th one, to tie out this episode but also this series, is to say I love you more often. Remember, the reality is that we all have limited time on planet Earth, so live life to the fullest. And although this entire series is kind of it's got the title in terms of a foolproof way towards financial independence. Financial independence is actually easy. There's a specific formula. Follow the formula and it's a guarantee that you'll get success. But there's a lot of other softer issues which delves more with regards to the relationships, living life, your mindset, the energy, how you make other people feel. And those are things that I also want you to focus on, coupled with money. Because my view has always been that money is very important, and with abundant money, it makes life a lot easier, but it shouldn't be the be and the end all. So yes, be driven, work towards getting financially independent, but please understand that that's not the be and the end all. And by having a close-knit, strong relationships with the people, the loved ones around you, saying I love you on a regular basis, for years to come after your passing will be very important to them. And there you have it. Thank you very much. I thoroughly enjoyed doing this series with you all. Thank you for those comments and the likes. Thank you for sharing the episodes with other loved ones that you feel might also benefit from the content. In the following series, we're going to go deeper on the specific topics based on the feedback that I'm getting from you. So thank you very much, and until next week, goodbye.